Hello, and welcome to another edition of Stats and Tech, where we go over some technology that may be used in your statistics course. So, today we're going to go over how to find the sample standard deviation of a frequency distribution. Okay, so we're trying to find the um, standard deviation of a frequency distribution. So, I'm looking at the formula. In Microsoft Excel, I'm going to have to use the formula to put in my information into the Microsoft Excel spreadsheet to calculate my sample standard deviation of a frequency distribution. So we're using Microsoft Excel today. Okay. So we have the sum of, the square root of, the sum of our data entry X minus the mean squared times frequency divided by n minus 1. Okay, so that's the formula we're going to have to use to get our sample standard deviation of a frequency distribution. As a reminder, frequency distribution is just a table. It's a table of our data. Sometimes we see our original data, but in this case, we don't see our individual data. We have intervals. We have a range of numbers that goes in each row. So we cannot use our class as our X. We have to bring up a representative. And so we're going to find the midpoint and use that as our X. So we're going to find a midpoint and use that as our X because we can't use 25 minus 29. That's actually a calculation if you put it in Excel. So we're going to make a midpoint to use as a representative of the class. All right, so I'm going to calculate midpoint by adding my lower class limit plus my upper class limit divided by 2. Notice how I have this in the cell. In parentheses, lower class limit plus upper class limit, divide by 2. If I were using a calculator, I would have to use this same format because we don't want to have it calculate in the incorrect way. All right. So 27, and then the next 30 plus 34 divided by 2. This is the middle of our class. Forgot to put the equal sign. And if you can see the middle, it's fine if you want to go ahead and put your midpoints in here. So if you can see it, then you can also put your midpoints in. So you can see your midpoints, the middle of the actual class. So between 25 and 29, smack dab in the middle of it is 27. In the middle of 34 and 30 and 34 is 32. Smack dab in the middle of it. Okay. So now I can actually find my mean because I know my x's. My x's are my midpoints, but I need my mean. So to find the mean, if we didn't have classes, we would just take all of our x's, divide by the number of numbers we have, or number of data entries. But because I'm using a frequency distribution, I'm going to have to sum my x times my f and then divide by n. So here's how you do this in Excel. So I have my equal sign. There is a sum product feature that we can use. And what that will do is that will add our x times f. So we use this. We're going to put our x's in first in array 1. Array 2 is going to be our frequency. So array 1, array 2, that's going to be our frequency. I'm going to hit OK. And I want to go back into my actual cell because I did not divide by my total number of data entries I have. So I'm going to divide by my total number of data entries. I don't have 3 data entries. I actually have the sum of these, right? So I'm going to do sum of my frequencies. Or you can add them yourself if you like. And that gives me my mean. So if you wanted to actually find a total frequency yourself, total frequency or N, you could sum your frequencies, and this will give you N as well. Okay, so instead of doing it part by part, you could have found the total frequency and divided by that number. Either way. So sum product, I'm going to put the formula here so that you can see it and have it for reference. How about that? That's the formula we use to find the mean. Okay, let me pause, give you a minute to pause the screen if you need to. Because next, we are going to find our variance so that we can get our standard deviation. So notice how the variance is here, which is the same formula as our sample standard deviation, but we need our frequency in the middle. So let's find our variance first. So according to this, we have to subtract x minus mean squared times frequency. So I'm going to actually put that here. X minus mean. I'm using the caret button to put my squared in. So you can use the superscript or the caret button, either one. Times frequency. So this is this. Because I can actually find the total of these or the sum of these once I get one of these done. So let's do this step by step. So I'm going to hit the equal button. Then I'm going to hit my parentheses. I'm putting parentheses because the formula has parentheses. So parentheses, my x, which is my mean, my midpoint, minus my mean. I'm going to put the number in here, and I'll show you why in a minute. So put your actual mean that we got here, put that as a number. Caret button 2, so that would be shift number 6 if you were having issues finding that earlier. Shift number 6 times my frequency. I'm going to leave this here so you can pause if you need to. So this is x minus mean squared times frequency. X minus mean squared times frequency. And I'm going to hit the enter button. So all I did was use this, take it from here to find the answer. Now I'm going to see how this shifts to the plus button, the dark plus button. I'm going to copy this all the way down to my last class. So that was a dark plus sign, and I drug it down all the way to my last class. And what this does is it shifts your cells down because you went down. It's using the next row. Had I clicked on this B10, it would have went from B10 to B11 to B12 to B13. It would have shifted with my other cells, but I want the same number every single time. So that's why I put in my actual number, because I didn't want that to change, but I wanted my other cells to change. So see how this is the x minus the mean squared times B5. So it used that information. So now I'm going to sum x minus mean squared times frequency. I'm going to sum that. I'm going to sum it because I need the sum according to this, the sigma symbol. So I'm going to equal sum parentheses all of these numbers. I'll pause that. Okay, now to find my variance, I have my sum of my x minus mean squared times frequency. I have that. Now I want to divide it by n minus 1. N minus 1. I'm doing n minus 1 because this is a sample. If this was population standard deviation, then you wouldn't do n minus 1. You would use the n as is. So I'm going to hit equal my sum divided by 23. I do not want to put 24 minus 1. It's going to throw it off. I don't want to hit 24 minus 1. I want to subtract it mentally to get my variance. And I'm going to put that formula here. So we did D8 divided by 23, which is n minus 1. So my sum divided by my frequency minus 1, or n minus 1. Total frequency minus 1. That gives variance. For standard deviation, we're going to square root that cell. So let me go and search for this so you can see how you search for it. So square root here it is. Square root. And I want to square root this. So you can put a number in. I'll put the cell in because I want the whole entire answer. I'm going to hit OK. And there is my standard deviation. So for the formula, it's going to be square root B11 square root B11. So just a quick recap. We have a frequency distribution. We needed to find the standard deviation of the frequency distribution. We're finding the sample one. We needed to find the midpoint first. Midpoint first so that we can find the mean. So we found the midpoint. We found the mean by using the sum product. So we had to multiply x times f, and divided it by 24, which was our n, or our total frequency. We actually summed up the total frequency to get our n for this problem. So we did a sum of our frequency. Or if you knew it, what it was, you can just divide by 24, either one. To find variance, we had to make another column. Our x value minus our mean squared times frequency. X value minus our mean squared times frequency. We added all those together. That's what that sum means. Then we divided the sum by n minus 1 because we're dealing with a sample set deviation. Then we took the square root of that last cell. All right, hopefully you were able to follow and now feel a little bit more comfortable finding frequency distribution using Microsoft Excel. Until next time.